The BRACE Commission itself was conceptualized after the last South-South Economic Summit. As governors of the South-South Zone, very early in the first tenure, we decided to meet and to look at our economy in particular from a more global perspective, taking a regional integrated approach to the development of the regional economy. And we saw opportunities and strengths. And in so doing, we decided that there was a need for us to formalize and institutionalize the relationship. And that was where we came up with the idea of the commission, the BRACE Commission, which we agreed would be put together to drive our collective vision about the socioeconomic development of the region.
If you look at the Niger Delta, you have a river that cuts across virtually all the states. There's no physical boundary. Whatever boundary we have is just man-made boundaries. And because of this, it's necessary that we come together and harness all the natural resources that we have to be able to have a region that is economically developed. The greatest problem or challenge or concern, not just in Niger Delta, but in the whole of Nigeria, is that of job creation. So we believe that by coming together with all this investment, there will be a great opportunity for job creation. And a lot of our youths who are currently unemployed, a lot of our women who are currently unemployed, will have opportunity of getting employed. I think that is the highest selling point for the common man.
If we do work together, we expect that all of us will be able to support a state like Cross River that has decided to go on tourism, to grow along that line. And then we're able to partner together as it pertains to agriculture, to create employment opportunities. We're currently partnering in the area of power. We have set up a company called the Fort Power, with which we have tendered for the Port Harcourt Distribution Company, and hoping to work together to be able to give the people of the South-South region power in the next 1 year.
The BRACE Commission, for me, is a dream come true. It's an opportunity for the wealthiest part of this country to come together to create an economy. And I believe the possibilities are endless. By the time we actually begin to see the outcomes of this integration, I believe that the country will be better for it, and we as a people in the South-South and in the Niger Delta will be much better for it.
There are a couple of things that we can do better when we collaborate with our neighbors. When we plan at state level, there are things that, you just can't do alone. Everything when I talk about, the bottom line is fighting poverty decisively within the South-South region. That includes Edo State.
Okay,
for example, we have in the power sector, for example, we think that we have some of the states in the South-South are generating power much more than they need. Now, if we achieve proper integration, we don't need to, build up our own power stations. We can draw on the surplus generated by rivers, by delta, etc. We have viable ports in Calabar, Akwa Ibom, or even Delta. That might be easier for us to access our goods than coming all the way from Lagos, if those ports work. In the context of Nigeria geopolitics, when we have a common voice, it will be louder and clearer in terms of effective representation, for and on behalf of the people of our states.
Well, BRICS is an idea whose time has come. For a very long time in Nigeria, we seem to have missed the track of how to bring development close to the people. And I think that that is part of a challenge of centralization of authority which comes with military rule. In the 1960s, which was a period in my view during which our country made significant progress, you saw regional groupings competing with each other about who will most bring progress to their people, and they inspired each other. I tell you the story of industrialization in Nigeria. The Premier of Western Region demarcated an area of what is today Ikeja Industrial Estate, went to attract foreign investors. The Premier of Eastern Region decided, no, you can't outdo me. So he started Aba and Port Harcourt simultaneously in response to Ikeja. The Premier of Northern Region turned to the Hong Kong Chinese, and Kaduna remains the hub of Nigeria's textile industry because of that response. So if Kakuri, Ikeja, Transamadi, Port Harcourt, and Aba, all these are products of regional action, you can therefore tell that the fact that the regions aren't focused on bringing progress to their people is part of the reason we've gotten into the slack that we are in. So the idea of BRICS, a group of states working together to build a critical mass for bringing progress to the people of that region, I think is a very important one that we should applaud, celebrate.
The Commission has a number of institutions, of which the Governor's Council is the apex of the institution. We have various other working groups made up of some thematic themes. Like we have the working group on agriculture, made up of commissioners of agriculture of the state, the working group on education. So you have all these, groups put together that will be looking at some specifically on the issues concerning them. So what it means is that if we do have meeting throughout the whole year, it means that at the end of the year, all the various ministries would have met collectively as a team to fashion out, common laws that would be put in place in each of the states. Apart from the working groups, now you now have the commission itself, which is in the middle of it, which coordinates all the activities, in terms of economic cooperation and integration among the states. We act like the bureaucracy. We, prepare the papers and everything that will ensure that these states really build up or achieve their ambition. So you find that in our commission right now we have two departments. One that would deal with sustainable development and the other one that would deal with corporate services. Well, the key one there is the Sustainable Development Department, which is technical, which will deal with agriculture, environment, health, education, and the rest of all sustainable developmental, issues.
One general area, obvious one, is transportation networks, roads, and so on, because it's the movement of human beings and goods that is a major problem. So an obvious area where there are quick wins is in the area of transportation. And it was never going to be transportation that was going to defy logic in terms of business reality. I'm talking about moving goods, and you're moving goods in most parts of these states by road, by water, and so on, and sometimes rail. But there are areas like that, transportation generally. Then also you can have bigger projects. I know it's difficult politically and so on, but there's no reason why every single university in a zone should be offering, should all have sort of similar faculties. So in some other parts of the world, you specialize in one university in medical sciences or something or the other. The other university in the neighboring state is very strong in humanities or law or something else. So that you actually sort of trying to build up expertise and you're not, and you don't have each one trying to spend all these resources to build expertise in medicine, law, physics, science, and so on. If all of you are trying to do that, you will all do it badly, as opposed to having one champion. You heard of MIT, not so? Yeah, what's their field? It's well defined. They're strong in one area. Somebody else, picks up a different area. So even in the Boston area, there are universities that have strengths in different activities. We have to also borrow that concept, whereby we also have universities that are strong in different fields and so on. But these are things you can sit down and discuss in a meeting and agree upon. And even though I have my university, you have yours, I will emphasize this, you will build on something else.
Let's look at the value chains of the factor endowments of the region. Amongst the factors the region is endowed with, cassava, palm produce, rubber, not to then go into petroleum or the hydrocarbons chain. You can take each of those and construct a value chain into global markets and build institutions to provide knowledge that will support the development of those, create opportunities for entrepreneurs to navigate that value chain, create jobs, create wealth, and completely transform people's lives. We are obsessed with the lazy business of collecting rent from oil and all that. I have argued for many years that if we manage the rubber value chain well, we could make more money from rubber than from crude oil. And the capacity to produce rubber, the yield per hectare in the region is probably about the highest in the world.
Well, I think for us, one of the key things that we're trying to realize, and we believe we must realize, is the development of infrastructure. Infrastructure that cuts across the states in the zone, an infrastructure that can contribute to the economic growth and development of a zone. So we would work on that, particularly the development of rail infrastructure that would crisscross the zone and would, of course, contribute significantly to the economic development of the zone. Also, one of the things that we've agreed to work on amongst ourselves is agreeing on areas of comparative advantage and allowing states to thrive and develop those areas of comparative advantage without necessarily competing with one another on a day-to-day basis. So if Cross River State is doing tourism, then we know that in Cross River State we have not just a state that's doing tourism, but that it becomes the tourism focus of the zone, the tourism hub, as it were, of the zone. The oil and gas sector would have other states who would, of course, focus on that. So areas of comparative advantage, agriculture, and other sectors of the economy, so that we're not at each other's throats trying to compete, but we're working collectively to make sure that the economies of all the states thrive collectively. We're also looking at setting standards, minimum standards in key areas, developmental areas, the social sector, standards for healthcare delivery, standards for education, that would, of course, be applicable across the zone. That's extremely critical. So a child in Cross River is having the same qualitative education as a child in Bayelsa. And a child in Cross River can get admission into the university in Bayelsa without paying any extra fees. So basically, we're trying to make sure that our economies are integrated, and of course, the society is also integrated. We're trying to get beyond the geographical boundaries that have been created in the zone.
The oil palm industry can thrive very well here. If we put funds together as a region, we can partner with investors and create 20,000, 30,000 hectares of oil palm, starting from Bayelsa all through Akwa Ibom to Cross River, including Delta they do. Now, when you do that, you must also create access. So you talk about railways to ensure that movement of goods and services are possible. You talk about good roads. It took me, driving from Port Harcourt on a good road would take me about an hour to this place. It took me about 2 hours plus. So we need to fix the roads. Either the federal government discharges its responsibility as it pertains to the East-West Road or creates a new road. Or the NDDC working together with us is able to create a new road. If you have a speed train, 20 minutes you're on Port Harcourt. Now, if you have such regional integration that connects each other, then you see those who are flying out of the country from these areas, not going to Lagos or Abuja, but flying from Port Harcourt. Because Port Harcourt, you have Lufthansa, you have Air France that will take off from Port Harcourt, or that are taken off from Port Harcourt. So basically, we hope that by 2015, and I hope that it will be one of the issues that we'll discuss this evening, that we're able to work together in the area of agriculture to create an alternative economy to oil. Because yes, we are South-South, yes, we are oil producing, but here comes one day that the oil will disappear. And if we don't plan for post-oil economy, then we'll be the most impoverished in the Nigerian country.
Right now, the region is the bedrock of the federation in terms of oil production. Give or take, in a couple of years' time also, that is going to be the center of commercial activities in this country for obvious reasons. If you fly over Cross River and rivers, and Akwa Ibom throughout the whole year, it's green all throughout. And that tells you one thing, that anything you put on those soils would definitely produce properly. So the whole essence and idea of going back to agriculture makes sense. So a couple of years from now, I also expect that region will become the food basket of this country, because right now there's nothing that is not produced there. What we're trying to do is increase the whole thing and make it commercially, while still retaining the small, peasant farmers, but make them this time more prosperous than they are just doing the bits themselves. So in 5 years' time, I'm looking at a region that would have changed completely. I'm looking at a region where the language of engagement would have changed. I'm looking at a region where people would look back and say, look, once upon a time, this was a very restless, society. But guess what? It is now peaceful, it is now prosperous, and the development is amazing.
Because look for champions within, earmark particular projects, particular ideas to individual governors, and see whether that will help them to break through.
If you believe, if you can dream it, you can make it happen.
When you look at the composition of the states, when you look at the various ambitions of the governors, you realize that forging economic unity is going to be difficult, but it is achievable. So those who don't understand might just turn around and say, look, can it be done? The truth of the matter is that it will take a couple of years, because by the time these governors are going out, another set with their own agenda will come in. Now it will now depend on the foundation that has been put in place, how far we at the Base Commission can publicize our work, how far we can get the people of the region to buy into the vision. Now, once they buy into the vision, it makes it easier, but that's not to say that it's still not going to be a very difficult process. Getting all the states, particularly those who have advantage of one thing or the other, as you can see the problem in the European Union today. So that's going to be my hope, however, is that each and every actor in the game will realize that yes, you can, in a way, you can engage in competition, but at the end of the day, working together, cooperating together, stands you in a good stead to achieve your ambition.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.